The day a tyrant broke my daughter's spine. Imagine a quiet Saturday at your child's school festival, hay bales, cider stands, kids laughing. Now, picture a grown woman, the neighborhood HOA president, raising a baseball bat and smashing it down on your disabled daughter's spine in front of everyone. That's what happened to my little girl, Grace, 2 weeks ago. She's 11, fighting to live in a hospital bed, and the doctors say she may never walk again. My name is Thomas Reed, a 54-year-old single dad and retired Marine. This is our story, and I'm warning you, it's not just about heartbreak. It's about what happens when cruelty hides behind power and what one father does when his child's life is shattered. Stick with me, because this tale of justice will make you question everything. We lived in a picturesque North Carolina suburb, trimmed lawns, American flags, kids on bikes. But beneath the surface was Eleanor Price, the HOA president, a woman with a clipboard and a smile that could cut glass. She didn't like Grace, not because Grace did anything wrong, but because Grace was different. Born with a rare muscular condition, Grace wore leg braces and sometimes used a walker. She couldn't run, but she painted like an artist, told jokes like a comedian, and had a heart that glowed like her favorite color, yellow. Her room was a burst of sunlight, yellow pillows, curtains, even a lampshade she painted herself. After my wife died of cancer 5 years ago, it's been just me and Grace. We were a team, facing the world together. Eleanor, though, saw Grace as a blemish on her perfect neighborhood. It started small notes on our mailbox about unsightly medical equipment, complaints about our accessibility ramp violating HOA codes. I ignored them at first, thinking she was just overzealous. Then it got personal. At a neighborhood barbecue, Eleanor said, loud enough for Grace to hear, "Kids like her don't belong in regular schools. They slow everyone down." Grace squeezed my hand, her eyes on the ground. I wanted to confront Eleanor, but I held back, not wanting to escalate things in front of my daughter. That was my first mistake. Eleanor's disdain grew. She lingered during Grace's physical therapy sessions on our porch, pretending to be on a walk. Should she be doing that where everyone can see? She'd ask, her voice dripping with judgment. I told her to back off, but she smirked and said, "I am the neighborhood's business, Mr. Reed." Her obsession with control was chilling. She fined an elderly veteran for flying his flag too early, measured holiday wreaths, and scolded anyone whose grass grew too long. Most folks saw her as a nuisance, not a threat. I saw something darker. Her eyes lingered on Grace with a mix of pity and disgust. The breaking point came at the school's fall festival. Grace was thrilled, having spent days painting a pumpkin for the art booth despite the pain in her hands. She wore her favorite yellow dress, spinning in it like a sunflower. "Too much?" she asked. I shook my head. "Never too much sunshine, sweetheart." We set up her display, and the festival buzzed with small-town charm, petting zoos, hay rides, cider. Eleanor was there, of course, arms crossed, scowling from the playground's edge. I kept an eye on her, but I didn't expect what came next. Around 11 a.m., Grace was chosen to wave the flag for a relay race, beaming with pride. Eleanor hovered nearby, whispering to her daughter, Sophie, a star student she bragged about endlessly. Something felt off. By noon, some kids were playing with a plastic bat near the bounce house. One dropped it on the grass, and Grace, ever tidy, bent to pick it up, her braces making the motion slow. That's when Eleanor stormed over, yelling about attention-seeking and playing disabled for sympathy. Before I could reach them, she snatched the bat and swung it hard across Grace's lower back. The crack echoed. Grace crumpled like paper, her body still. The world froze. Screams broke the silence. I ran, dropping everything, and knelt beside her. "Grace, honey, can you hear me?" Her face was pale, lips were trembling. "I can't feel my legs, Daddy." Those words burned into me. The school nurse kept her still while we waited for the ambulance. Eleanor stood aside, muttering that Grace had overreacted and she'd only meant to scare her. I wanted to scream, but Grace needed me. In the ambulance, she kept asking, "Am I okay?" I lied, "You're strong, sweetheart. You'll be fine." Her grip on my hand said she knew I wasn't sure. At the hospital, the doctor's words hit like a second blow, a compression fracture at L1, swelling around the spinal cord. "She may not walk again," he said. I broke down in the hallway, alone, the guilt crushing me. I should have protected her. I knew Eleanor was trouble, but I never imagined this. That night, in the ICU, Grace tried to smile. "Is my painting okay? Did they hang it?" Her heart was still on her art, not her pain. Meanwhile, Eleanor posted on the HOA's Facebook group, claiming Grace had provoked her. She twisted the truth before it could breathe. But she didn't know who she was dealing with. I wasn't just a dad fixing lawnmowers. I was a Marine Force recon specialist for 22 years, trained in intelligence gathering, with contacts in federal agencies and private security. I'd seen cover-ups in war zones. I wasn't letting this one slide. I called an old friend, Daniel Hayes, a cybersecurity analyst. Within 24 hours, he'd recovered Eleanor's deleted posts, including one calling Grace a burden and suggesting kids like her shouldn't be seen at public events. He also found next-door rants under a fake name, dripping with venom. I gathered more phone videos from parents at the festival, security footage from a teacher showing Eleanor swinging the bat, and witness statements from kids and neighbors. I learned Eleanor had a history. Sealed court documents from her old Georgia neighborhood revealed lawsuits for harassment, including one involving a disabled boy. I sent everything to Sheriff Carla Bennett, a friend from a joint training exercise years ago. "This is criminal," she said. But the local police had filed the incident as a disturbance, based on Eleanor's false claim that Grace threatened Sophie with the bat. The school principal backed her to avoid bad press. They were protecting her. I went public. With Daniel's help, I posted a video from Grace's hospital room, holding her hand, telling the truth calmly but firmly. I showed Eleanor's posts, the footage, and ended with Grace asleep, hooked to machines. It went viral. Parents shared stories of Eleanor's bullying, harassing kids, intimidating teachers, and threatening fines for trivial things. A former HOA board member revealed Eleanor tried to evict a family for a wheelchair ramp. The tide turned. Sheriff Bennett issued a warrant. Eleanor was arrested in her bathrobe, screaming about slander as neighbors watched. The news ran the story: HOA president accused of assaulting disabled girl. Charges piled of felony child endangerment, aggravated battery, false reporting, obstruction. The trial came 3 months later. I sat in the front row with Grace, her wheelchair polished, a yellow scarf like armor. The prosecution laid out the evidence: videos, testimonies, Eleanor's digital trail of hate. Her defense stress, misunderstanding grumbled. Neighbors and teachers testified about her intimidation. When I took the stand, I looked at the jury and said, she was 11, holding a plastic pumpkin. Eleanor saw her as a threat to her perfect world and hit her. The silence was deafening. After 3 days, the jury returned, guilty on all counts. Eleanor got 8 years, no parole for 5. The courtroom exhaled. Our civil suit followed. The school district settled, admitting they had ignored warnings about Eleanor. They paid for Grace's therapy, equipment, and home modifications. The principal and 2 administrators resigned. The HOA dissolved after evidence showed Eleanor misused funds for personal landscaping and a community drone no one saw. A new association was formed, led by parents and retirees. They asked me to lead. I declined. I just wanted peace for Grace. The community changed. Neighbors who once avoided us brought casseroles, cleaned our gutters, and invited Grace to parties with ramps ready. Grace started healing. She couldn't walk yet, but her spirit soared. She drew again, sketching girls in braces fighting dragons that looked suspiciously like Eleanor. One day, she asked, "Did she hate me because I'm different?" I said, "She hated you because you're stronger than her, and some people fear strength they don't understand." She nodded. "You're strong too, Daddy." I smiled. "Only because you taught me how." A month after the trial, we got a letter from Sophie, Eleanor's daughter. "I'm sorry for what my mom did. I tried to tell people, but no one listened. Grace is brave." Grace framed it, saying it showed even dark places have light. 6 months later, Grace took 3 shaky steps with a walker. I wept, not from sadness, but pride. She grinned. "Told you I could do it, Daddy." She's writing a children's book now about kids with braces who defeat monsters with kindness. Our home feels lighter, the fear gone. The school added ramps and sensory spaces. Our town, once obsessed with image, now values people. Eleanor sits in prison, blaming everyone but herself. She broke more than bones. She shattered the lie that cruelty can hide behind power. Grace's story woke our community, proving that one voice can spark justice. As I watch Grace paint, laugh, and live, I know she'll never walk alone. Her strength, and ours, one. What would you do if someone hurt your child and called it discipline? How far would you go for justice? Share your thoughts below on violence, injustice, or standing up. Your voice matters. Let's keep this conversation going.